Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another gifted upload. I just got off work and I came in time. The NBA regular season schedules have been announced, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the Golden State Warriors, my team's schedule. I'm going to give some predictions on what they can go for the season, and obviously, I'm going to talk about my X factors for the Warriors team. So, like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get right into the video. Okay, so for the month of October, the Warriors play the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Kings, Phoenix, Miami Heat, Charlotte Hornets, and Detroit. Starting out with that stretch, I think that the Warriors can actually be pretty successful in that stretch. I think the overall competition isn't as great in the first month. I think that the teams that can beat the Warriors will probably be the Heat and between Denver. However, that's not how the NBA works. There are certain games to where you're playing inferior talent, but you can still get beat. And in my opinion, I think the team to most do that would be a team like Charlotte. There is no Miles Bridges. However, I think that they're going to be a team that most people will overlook, and then they'll wind up surprising you and beating you. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Charlotte wound up beating the Warriors. I don't think it will happen, but it's out there on the table. For me, the most competitive games, though, are going to be between the Nuggets and the Miami Heat. And moving on to November, they then have to play the Heat again, Orlando and New Orleans back-to-back. That's an interesting back-to-back with young teams. Keep that in mind. Then the Kings again, Cleveland, the Kings, and then Sacramento back-to-back, but at least this one's at home. Then Phoenix, New York, Houston and New Orleans, another back-to-back. Clippers and Utah, Minnesota and Dallas. This month is harder, and the reason why is there's 3 sets of back-to-backs within this 1 month, and there's going to be multiple times where they're playing some younger teams, and younger teams can really tax you just because of how hard they try to win and move. But ultimately, the Warriors are still a team that's built on discipline, and they also have younger guys who will come to play as well. I still think the Warriors can be pretty successful in this season, but just the back-to-backs, there's going to be times where they're not playing their core players, and because of that, the Warriors could lose some games in this month. So I do anticipate November being probably one of the harder schedules for the Warriors to play in that month. Hey there. My analytics tell me that you only make it to 2 minutes and 35 seconds in this video. So if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Like, comment, and subscribe. And drop a comment so I know it's not a whole bunch of bots watching my channel. While I'm here, quick drip check. As you can see, I got the Fresh Prince on with the Fresh Prince shorts, and I got the number on the back. Off that alone, you gotta subscribe. All right, back to the video though. Moving on to December, the Christmas month. It opens out with Chicago and the Rockets back-to-back. Indiana, then Utah, Boston at home. That's gonna be a really fun game. Then Milwaukee on the road, and then the Pacers back-to-back. Philadelphia on the road, that's going to be very, very fun. Toronto, New York, and Brooklyn back-to-back. Memphis at home. Charlotte and Utah back-to-back. And then Portland. This is a homestand. So, that's cool. Ooh, okay, December is also hard. I say that because, again, I'm not necessarily looking at how many games are the Warriors going to lose. I'm more so looking at the circumstances of how the games are set. And the way they're set, there's 4 sets of back-to-backs in this month alone. And I just think that that's going to be taxing on the Warriors, especially at a time where teams are still trying to set their proper footing early on. However, just off the talent base alone with their young talent, I still think the Warriors can still be very competitive in this stretch. Milwaukee, Indiana is going to be an interesting back-to-back for me. I think the Warriors go 1-2 in that stretch, just because to go from the Bucks to the Pacers, I would not be surprised if the Pacers wind up upsetting Golden State. Every year something happens where we trick off games to one of these teams, but we wind up beating the more competitive, harder team. So wouldn't be surprised. We have to see how that goes, but so far as we go month by month, our schedule is getting increasingly more difficult. All right, so we're now in the year of 2023. So it opens up with Atlanta, Detroit, Orlando, Phoenix, Spurs, Chicago, Washington back-to-back, Boston, Cleveland back-to-back. That's one of the harder back-to-backs on the schedule. Brooklyn, Memphis, Toronto, and Oklahoma City. This is a lighter schedule. I like it because there's only 2 back-to-backs, and the majority of the teams that the Warriors are playing are younger, more inexperienced teams, which bodes well for their chances of success, because those teams, like, still, even though they can have the heart to fight, they just don't have the talent to really keep up with the Warriors or the discipline to guard them the way they play basketball. So they can be successful in a lot of those matchups. Boston and Cleveland is the hardest slate of games in the month of January, just because those are going to be 2 good teams that are not only young, but they're physical. They have strong interior presence, and it's a back-to-back. So that is going to be a slate of games I'm for sure highlighting on the schedule. I'm curious to see what type of energy the Warriors come out with for those games. Those would be some big games. And then the month of February, which in my opinion is a very important month if you are a NBA team, just because you want to set the tone coming into All-Star break and then coming out of All-Star break immediately for what your season is going to be. Because for the first couple of months, there's, okay, we were trying to get ourselves established, all that is fine, but in the month of All-Star break, before and after, that is crucial to setting the tone, because All-Star break is when teams flip their switch and become tougher, and wins come harder to come by. So that's going to matter a lot. And in February, we have Minnesota, Denver, Dallas at home, OKC at home, Portland, Lakers at home, Wizards at home, Clippers back-to-back. That's interesting. All-Star game, a lot of rest in between that, so that's great. Then you have the Lakers and the Houston back-to-back, and then you have Minnesota, and then you have Portland. Minnesota, Denver is probably going to be the hardest back-to-back the Warriors have to play on this entire schedule. I think that Timberwolves team, even though they're young, getting Gobert adds some stability in the front court and also gives them a lot of size to go up against Golden State. Styles make fights, and to go from that to Denver, who has another big man who's also proven to be dominant with his pieces coming back, that's going to be an interesting size matchup back-to-back. So I definitely have that circle on the calendar for sure. Outside of that, after All-Star break, the back-to-back for Houston and the Lakers, I don't think that's going to be as bad. Houston's a younger team. I would watch out for them. They're going to lose a lot of games, yes, but they're a very, very feisty, scrappy team. And I think Jalen Green is going to have a very good season. He closed the season out on some crazy numbers, so definitely not sleep on any parts of that schedule. And now we go to March, my birthday month for the Fresh Prince. No? Okay. The Clippers and New Orleans back-to-back. Lakers, OKC, Memphis, Milwaukee, Phoenix, Clippers, Atlanta, Memphis back-to-back, Houston, Dallas, Philadelphia at home, Minnesota at home, New Orleans at home, Spurs at home. I like March's schedule because the end of it, a lot of the games are like distanced out and far away from back-to-backs, which I think is strong. I like how it ends the month off with the homestand. I think during that homestand, a lot of chemistry and like rest can be built up, which helps their odds of success. Clippers, New Orleans back-to-back is going to be interesting. I think the Clippers are going to be a really good team. That's going to be a tough game. And then the very next night, playing against a young, scrappy New Orleans team, which at this point is really trying to establish their footing in the playoffs. I think they're going to be a really good team. Seeing Zion versus Golden State is going to be very, very fun. So definitely keep an eye out for that back-to-back. That's probably going to be one of the more interesting and exciting back-to-backs on the schedule. And then we end out the 2023 season with 4 games in April: Denver, Oklahoma, Sacramento Kings, and Portland Trailblazers. So, for the Caesars Sportsbook odds, they have the Warriors sitting at 52.5 as the over-under for games 1. I think the Warriors are going to beat that. I think they're going to be a 56-win team. And I say that because they still have their core. And keep in mind, Draymond, Klay, and Steph did not start the season out playing together. I think the young guys are going to be able to play off of that strongly, but I also think that they're still going to take their precaution and rest some of the veteran players on a lot of those back-to-backs. This year for Golden State, there's a lot of back-to-backs on the schedule. So again, would not be surprised if there's a lot of nights where there's a Poole or Moses Moody leading the charge, and Steph and Clay get to rest. So obviously, got to see how that goes. I do think this team has 60 win potential. However, in the West, a lot of tough games, a lot of back-to-backs, a lot of road trips. So I'm not sure of how feasible that is, but it is a possibility. As a Warriors fans, my expectations are that the majority of these games that they play in are competitive. I want to see James Wiseman get a lot of minutes and a lot of reps. I'm not saying he should be starting in the playoffs, but I think if he's going to contribute to this team, he has to get all of his kinks out early on. I need to see him commit to the defensive end. I need to see him properly be able to set screens more. And I need to see how he plays both off of Steph and without Steph, and how portable he can be as far as those lineups. And rebounding. Rebounding is essential for James Wiseman. I need James Wiseman, no matter what he's shooting, no matter how many times he's touching the ball, I need him to be a rebound guy. If he really embraces that role and he's able to rebound, he will find minutes for this team, and he can be a very helpful player because of his length and his ability to still alter shots at the rim. So I'm leaning on Curry and Draymond to coach him up, but also Wiseman just has to play basketball. At a certain point, when you're in the NBA, the best way to get better is just by trial and error. And I think for this entire regular season, trial and error is the biggest name for Golden State. Their young players are going to have to get better, and the only way they get that is by being thrown in the fire against competitive teams in the regular season. But yeah, that's going to wrap up my thoughts on the Warriors schedule. If you are a Warriors fan, in the comments, let me know what you think the Warriors are going to go. Are they going to win more games than 52.5? Let me know. If not, tell me why. And I will catch you guys in the next NBA video. Peace out, people.